Welcome to Real Flix Reviews, or like a book club for people who hate reading. This month's theme is childhood favorites, so Rob picked the movie Bullitt, made in 1968, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston, and...
The old guys here.
Before we start the show today, we wanted to give our condolences to the family of Richard Attenborough. And if you don't know who he is, we just recently did a movie that he was in called The Great Escape. One of the more roles he's also famous for was the old gentleman from Jurassic Park.
Right.
Is one of his more famous ones within the last 20 years. He just recently died at 90.
Yeah.
So, you know, good age. And
Great actor.
Yeah. Really classic English actor, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a knight, so he's Sir.
So, okay,
was
Sir
knighted.
Richard Attenborough.
That's right.
So I just kind of, you know, I'm going to miss another
Show
great
him
actor.
some respect.
Well, why don't you? And
I
so
did.
who's going to read the IMDb?
Well, this is my movie. You want me to read it?
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, so IMDb says, in all guts, no glory, San Francisco cop becomes determined to find the underworld kingpin that killed the witness in his protection.
Did they?
That's actually a pretty decent description.
It is. Yeah.
Kind
One
of.
of the better ones we've had recently.
It is one of the better ones.
But
they had a lot of years to write.
Yeah. They probably ripped it off the back of the box.
Probably. Yeah.
Jeez. It's... Oh, okay, so who wants to go first?
Well, let me explain why I picked this one. And after seeing it, when I saw it as a young high schooler, you know, what made the movie, and still today that makes the movie, is the chase scene, the vehicle chase. It's just no CGI, no fake cars. This is the real rubber meets the road, full-on, badass chase through the streets of San Francisco.
The movie that launched 1,000 bad copies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
This is it. This is what made everybody want to have a Mustang or a Charger or what, you know. And man, I tell you, it was that was it. And that was what the movie was all about for almost all of us.
The 9-minute
That's actually
scene.
what everybody is always raving about for years after.
Right.
Well, that's the only thing people remember, and it's only like a 9-10 minute scene too, which is the crazy part.
Decent long car chase, if you think about it. I mean,
It was, especially for the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it's a 1 hour and 54 minute movie, and the only thing people remember is the 10-minute scene is the testament to how good the car chase was compared to the rest of the
True.
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
I gotta say, is every time I watched it land, my back just goes,
Yeah.
so that
pretty
has
much.
to hurt.
Well, it's more like that poor car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised they only used 2 of each car.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were able to get away with saving one of the Mustangs. That's unbelievable when you see him going over those hills,
Yeah.
you know, catching, you know, a few inches worth of air, but still, you know, going over those hills in San Francisco. That wrecks a frame so bad.
Right.
They had some great
Yeah.
mechanics. I mean, they,
Yeah.
they did. They had a great garage of car guys, pure car guys, and that's why this movie has gotten so popular. Is it's a car guy movie, you know, you forget the beginning, forget the end, take the middle, and you got a great movie.
I gotta say, the other thing about this movie is very iconic to me. There's 2 things. Is one, the soundtrack. This has a very iconic soundtrack, even for movies of that decade. I think this soundtrack really stands out.
Yeah, I didn't really like the flute scene where he's sitting there staring at the girl. That was kind of a little bit.
I mean, when he
really
wasn't
drawn
actually
out.
moving his hands and making
that's
noises.
one of those scenes I think you can only throw in a 60s movie is, you know, just
Oh,
the
yeah,
pace
for-
is so much different that those kinds of scenes are okay. You can have a dance sequence or something like that. He was in a lot of James Bond movies. You'd see these kinds of things.
So how'd you like the
Just
fact?
a 4-minute performance of some circus act or something.
Yeah.
How'd you like the fact he wasn't actually playing the flute, just moving his head?
Right.
Yeah, the fingers never moved.
He
Yeah.
caught that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
The
Yeah,
fingers never move. It's just a bobbing back
Yeah,
and forth.
I
It's
was
kind of
going-
Ray Charles act.
Yeah, I caught that right off
My
the bat. I
fingers
said,
don't work. His eyes don't work.
You couldn't have caught somebody could really play the flute and just, you know, pretend.
I mean, it was
Right.
1968. They could have gotten the guy from Jethro Tull. He was around.
Anybody.
And, you know, to me, there was certain scenes that seemed extended.
Like
A little bit
what-
too long, and, like, where the one that proves exactly what I'm trying to say is where you see the plane and then they have the little thing that comes out that suctions up to. That was a long scene just to say the plane has arrived. You know, it's kind of like, really, that could have been cut out, and if you had done that throughout the movie, we would be at an hour and a half.
Well, I think a lot of it was
Like
in
the
the
Freddy got
60s,
fingered.
and back me up here, Rob, if I'm right or wrong. But in the 60s, you didn't have this sort of worldwide knowledge of how everything sort of works. So there was a lot of that.
He's calling you
like,
dumb.
let's sit on this moment, in the airport or in the airplane, or just kind of show you procedurally, what you're staring at.
Absolutely, and I shared this with John when we were watching the movie. I said, look how everybody's dressed. During the 60s, we wore shirts and ties and coats.
Especially.
Oh yeah, I mean when we were flying, flying was still exciting then, and you got dressed up to fly. And you don't see that now.
Well,
Yeah, you see people getting in there in their PJs.
It's because it takes a half.
You do.
Yeah,
With
I'm not kidding.
stuff.
Because it takes you a half hour to get back dressed after you have to remove everything, getting through the X-ray. And the
TSA is
Please spread your
definitely-
butt cheeks.
Yeah, TSA has definitely killed the whole flying thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
TSA, I think, is responsible for sweatpants now.
exactly.
right.
And flip flops.
The other thing I was going to say about this movie that I thought that is very indicative of that particular around that era was the lighting, because nowadays all the movies is very bright, is lit and very bright. There's no shadows, no unnecessary shadows. This movie, it almost seems the shadows was a character in itself, and what part was light, what part was not. I was really impressed by that.
I was impressed by a lot of the Steadicam shots that they used. Some of the cinematography was really, creative. I think it was just by nature of getting bored with standard cinematography. When you don't have, the kind of stuff that we do have today to play around with. I mean, they started getting really clever shooting things through windows.
Mm-hmm.
The scene when the Mustang was driving around through, to catch another street just as the Charger started to follow him. There was this part where you catch the Mustang going left right as the Dodge is coming right. And I mean, it's just those little clever shots that I started to pay attention to.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There was some fluidity there that and during the chase scene, and I think you're talking about the exact scene that stuck out to me, where you see the two cars going around, and they kept that in sequence.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything out of place in there as far as that I could catch.
Right.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was filmed by two separate cameras, and the film put together.
I think a few of those things were. I mean, it was a lot of those stunts I don't think could be replicated more than a couple of times.
Yeah.
So you'd have to just catch, 3 different angles on the same intersection and just use it over and over again.
So they were prepared.
Yeah.
Is from what I could tell. And also, you're right. There was a couple scenes where they were filming inside the car as Steve McQueen's driving it, and that was really well done
Give
too.
me motion sickness a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that was really well done.
See,
It
the
was.
interesting part about that was actually reading the scenes that weren't with him were when his stunt double was there. Which I was reading, apparently he wasn't a fan of stunt doubles.
You didn't like
So
that.
I was.
He liked doing his own stunts
Exactly.
and anything he could.
So apparently
Wasn't it his wife that talked him out of it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently he was extremely pissed when he found a guy sitting in his car dressed like him. He's like,
Oh, that's right. She talked the director into
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, don't let him do this shit," because he hit a car, sideswiped somebody losing control.
Yeah.
yeah. Apparently they don't want to be like the original Gone in 60 Seconds.
Right.
Hey, that's a good movie.
60
Not to be
seconds of it is.
Yeah.
So did anybody notice any smoking in this movie?
No.
And
Well,
isn't that
yeah,
interesting?
Duvall's character had a cigar.
Shh. I'm kidding.
Not really. The one bad guy that was the driver of the Charger, he had a pipe, and there was one scene with a cigar. But overall, for the 60s, everybody was smoking, and
Yeah.
in this movie, very few people
Especially
were.
in the airport and
Yeah.
in the plane.
Yeah, it was very
Recirculated
unusual.
smoked air.
Yeah, it was definitely a anti-smoking movie way before it was popular to
Right.
be anti-smoking. And the fact that Steve McQueen died of lung cancer probably adds to the situation too. So,
Probably.
at a young age, unfortunately.
I don't even think I realized how little smoking there was in that movie until you guys just brought it up right now.
Yeah, I was watching it with him, and
I don't think. I could think of an instance other than Robert Duvall holding a cigar.
Right.
Which, by the way, the cast on this movie, besides Steve McQueen, Jacqueline Bassett, Robert Vaughn,
Oh, yeah.
Simon
Oh, yeah.
Oakland, Norman Fell, Robert Duvall, you have an insane cast in just like the top 6.
Well, you got guys that went on for many, many, many years, and in some cases decades, are still doing movies,
Yeah.
you know, and are just top actors.
Yeah.
I mean, really incredible.
Yeah, and you got Robert Duvall, who I've always been a big fan of, too, and the guy from Three's Company, which I didn't realize
Norman
until
Fell.
after the
Yeah.
fact.
That was funny.
I
You
remember
didn't recognize him during the movie?
No,
Oh,
it's like
okay.
the whole time I'm like, this guy looks familiar. Then it was like, da 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 da. Oh, it's him.
Yeah.
So
Wow, Suzanne Summers was in here uncredited as well.
Really?
Yeah, right at the bottom.
Well, shoot, I mean, Robert Duvall just had like a little cameo for all of a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
that was a pretty tiny little role for him.
it really was. It really was a small role for him, and especially right when I mean, this is pretty much when he's still in his prime, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
well known.
Or maybe early on in his career.
So what do you think about the set being San Francisco? Because I know they had more access in San Francisco than most movies will ever had. So
Couldn't do it now.
what do you
No.
think? Because there was this one, there was Dirty Harry. There are a few movies set in San Francisco that had great access. I mean, what do you think? Because I love this.
I think it was actually really well done. Going to San Francisco and being around there, not liking that place as much as I do. I actually liked that there was so much scenery of it. There actually, I believe their chase scene was actually done outside of San Francisco and more towards the Dublin, Livermore area. That's what it looked like to me. But I wasn't in San Francisco at that time.
You weren't in anywhere.
Well, I don't
I was
think
in my mom and
if
my
you look
dad
at the
in separate
hills,
places.
if you look at the hills in the way it was, I think it's got to be San Francisco, James.
I'm not so certain.
Livermore's a pretty flat place. I know that
No,
really well.
if you get up
and
there, it's pretty hilly up in the top.
I think it was mostly shot.
Well, anybody from the Bay Area, you know, send your
Houses
email to
right
him.
there, I think it's. I mean, that's really the houses and the hills. I mean, that's San Francisco.
I'm not talking about the mid place. I'm talking about they did most of it, but when they got out into the
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
Yeah, well, they
oh,
took out
okay.
the sticks
The-
a little while. I mean,
yeah,
they're
the
gonna
sticks
be
area.
more south
That's
than
what it
Gotcha.
looked like to
Hail,
me.
so-
Not in the hills and everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. That was San
I-
Francisco.
Yeah.
I have
No
to-
question.
All right.
I have to admit, I love, it's just like the movie The Warriors. I love the character that town gives in this movie. And I think the age of it makes it even better.
Did
As
you
you
just
get to
compare
see,
this movie to The Warriors?
well, if you actually, well, for
I'm
example-
sorry. I think I misheard
Well,
you
for
there.
example, the Warriors, that in New York hasn't existed since that movie was made. It's a very dirty, kind of gritty. The lighting works different than it does now. And I think the same thing can be said with San Francisco. And I think it makes this movie a very time capsule movie that aged extremely well for being as old as
I
it
see
is.
exactly what you're saying. Matter of fact, I think the original book was set in Boston, wasn't it?
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
I'm not expecting anybody to know, but I think it was set in Boston. And if they hadn't changed it for the movie, I don't think it would have been as nearly as iconic, especially with the chase scene that I think they had it also, obviously, for the movie, because nobody writes a chase scene into a book.
No, generally
and,
not.
And a Boston accent the whole time.
Generally not, but
And he turned left.
Nobody recognizes Boston like that, but people recognize the iconic nature of San Francisco. So when you're driving around it in those iconic cars, nonetheless, I think that's the reason that people remember this movie 40 years later. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause-
Well, and and as James was talking about, and the way some of the camera work was done in the editing, they won an Oscar for editing, and
they
you can
deserve
see
it.
why. Yeah,
They
because-
deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that even I got my wife to start picking up on are the editing mistakes, like where you watching the glass and it jumps up and down in like a 2-second conversation.
Yeah.
It's
Excuse
like there's just little things like that, and especially in most chase scenes, they're really easy to pick up. Like, oh, there is a blue car right next to that one,
Exactly.
and now it's orange.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
had some goofs in this movie too. You can't help it, especially on figure that you're on a street that's going to have traffic a lot of times,
Yeah.
and then they block it off. You do the chase scene, and you let the traffic go again. So, not everything's going to stay the same through every cut.
Yeah.
And the other thing amazed me is the transitions. There was a lot of basically, like cuts. You cut to one scene. I think there was one dissolve type cut transition. I was actually
Well, they
amazed.
I don't think they did very many like dissolves very well at this time.
Well, see, the funniest thing is the opening on this movie amazed me. If you actually look, the way they took, they put one scene and the other words, and the words would zoom up, and the way they did that, the opening from this movie in the 60s.
Like the dynamic nature of the opening credits sequence. That was good.
I legitimately want to know how they did that, because I think that would hold up in a movie today.
Dude, I think a lot of the story would hold up in a movie today. I mean, you can contemporize. Is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Contemporize a lot of this movie.
We'll use it.
Yeah, we'll go with it. A lot of this movie, you could bring it up, basically trim each scene by a couple of minutes because it's just the pacing is different nowadays.
Right.
And the story's good enough to be told today.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, do you think they would make a movie? Because realistically, this movie is very simple plot.
Yeah,
very simple overall story.
Think about the things that people remember. It's not necessarily the story. It's more of a vehicle for the car chase. No pun intended. You could do the same kind of. I mean, it's the same kind of thing that they do these days. But I'm sure somebody's actually probably adapted that movie and just called it something else.
Are you saying like a remake like they did with the Italian Job, Ocean's 11?
Say for example, they brought this completely in the future, completely knew everything except the very basic location, very similar story. Do you think it would hold up? Because I'm thinking it would be like another Michael Bay, because it's a car chase. It would be like the last Bourne movie where it's a 45-minute chase.
Michael Bay.
Well, I'm being a little exaggerating, but I'm just wondering.
But I think the people outside of Michael Bay, and Michael Bay might be the exception to prove the rule of most people are good at directing, and actual human emotion and action sequences, as opposed to Michael Bay, who just does the latter.
He makes spectacles.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think if you actually take the basis of this story, which is basically a revenge theme, that's pretty much really what it comes down to.
Pretty much.
And you condense things. I think if you condensed it, got rid of some of the more, as Brian was kind of saying, treating people like they're dumb and don't know how a plane operates thing, and get rid of all that, condense it down, I think you could remake it. I don't think it would do as well, though. I really don't. I don't think it'd be something that a lot of people go see. They might go see it if they use the name again, Bullitt, and actually get some decent actor to play it. I don't know who they'd pick. There's nobody really like a Steve McQueen anymore.
See, I think the problem right off the bat, that's one, is there's nobody like a Steve McQueen. And then you're going to try to take something as iconic as that car chase, because I think that really started the whole series of got to have a car chase in a movie, or it doesn't make a movie type of thing. So I would hope they wouldn't remake it, personally. I'm not a big fan doesn't stop
of the
Hollywood,
car chase.
like we say, huh? Nothing original.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the car chase, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really not. I mean, I enjoyed this car chase. There's some car chases that I look at and I'm like, okay, yeah, they chased around in a car. Okay. That's pretty much it. That might be coming from being in LA when I was. I mean, you pretty much turn on the TV and there's like a bunch of car chases. The only interesting one was OJ because of how slow that dude drove down the freeway.
You want to know why I think this movie's car chases is so well known? Besides the technical aspects of it, it's used very judiciously. It's only 10 minutes long. If you get like the last Bond movie, the last Bourne movie, they're 30 to 45 minutes of the movie. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this movie.
Not much, man. Not much.
Really not.
But this movie, it's 10 minutes. But not only is it really well done, it actually is a story within itself. The cars are telling emotion of this guy trying to catch up. They don't even have to show the actors because of the way they're portraying the cars. So I think if you do it in a way that portrays that, I think you could do a really good job.
But I mean, even still, like the other car chase movie that everybody brings up is Ronin. And I mean, I wasn't blown away by that car chase scene. I'm like, okay, they're in cars, they're chasing each other.
And
I kind of liked it, to be honest.
But that's kind of how I feel. I'm not excited about the car chases. And that's just me.
And I am curious to skip on to another part of the movie. Towards the end of the movie, the Vaughn, I forgot his first name. Robert Vaughn character was basically saying everybody's up for sale. And he said, no, he's stuck on his morals. But earlier in the movie, he made a deal to help somebody get out of jail.
Yeah.
So that's the part to me that I thought
Well,
was funny.
technically, he didn't say that he was going to get the guy out of jail. He said that he would see what he could do.
Yeah, but
But
That
was
kinda
all
means-
his motivation for doing that. Also, you know.
I'll make sure he doesn't get raped.
yeah.
That's what it means to me. As Ryan almost dies on his coffee. But, you know, I kind of get what you're saying there. And the other scene that kind of bothered me a little bit was when he shot the guy through the glass. Now, did anybody else see a magic bullet there?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was 2 bullets.
Well, he shot twice, and only one bullet penetrated the glass.
Yeah.
But he had 2 kind of like jostle things
No,
on
but
his
what
body,
it is-
but no.
That's
he's-
pre-safety glass.
Don't
That's
forget-
plate glass.
Don't
That
forget, he's such a
may have
good,
taken 2 bullets to get through it.
Don't forget, he was such a good shot. He put the second shot through the original hole.
Yeah, it's a pretty big hole.
And, the other thing I liked about this movie, you're going to use firearms wise, it was very simple, nothing exotic. I mean, it was a 1911. It was a Winchester shotgun.
I like that
liked
Winchester
that.
shotgun.
1897 Winchester.
Yeah.
When Jonathan asked me what it was, because it's a takedown, it was a very popular gun.
It's a nice rifle.
And by the way, is one of the things you want to check out, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, I said it is the International Movie Firearm Database. Most movies you go on, if you don't know what the gun is, go on there. 95% of the times, they will actually have.
They
the
actually
firearm.
have the gun from Dark Angel in there too. Go look it up.
So it's another way to check the movie and see what
Also
firearm
known
you'd
as
like.
I Come in Peace.
Yes.
We did it in the back.
We did that one. Make sure you check it out. And it's coming up towards the break.
Oh,
so
I guess it is.
I want to know,
Taking
Ryan,
a
what do you
break.
give this movie?
I give it a 3. I mean, just I'd seen it before, so I knew kind of what I was expecting. I knew I was looking forward to the car chase scene, but I was surprised on how much of it, you know, still holds up. I'm sure it was a really short script because a lot of it is just Steve McQueen noticing shit. But Steve McQueen's such a fucking good actor that I can watch him notice shit for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's just
Too
like
bad the
wanting,
movie's almost 2 hours.
it's just like wanting to listen to what's his name, Morgan, read the
Free-
dictionary.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
I would. So Rob,
I'm going to give it a 4, and only because I just love the car chase so much. The plot for me was very thin.
It's
you know, and of course it was a very Steve McQueen movie where it's not a whole lot of dialogue, but a whole lot of looks. You know, gonna look at you.
I was kind of hoping for the people's.
Yeah,
I was
exactly. So no, I enjoyed the movie. It by far is not a super blockbuster type of number 5 for me by any chance, but I'll give it a 4 for what it was at its period of time.
James.
You know, I was actually going to rate it about the same principles that you were, and I'm actually going to give it a 4. I can't give it below a 3 just because of, I mean, Steve McQueen does such a good job. Plus, you got Robert Vaughn in there, who is basically his co-actor, you know. And I just got to say, you know, there's some things in this movie that I think people need to go back and look at.
Oh,
Because
totally.
it was done differently. It was done well. Of course, there are the things that I said that
Sure.
were my issues, but
Right.
you know, all in all, those are minuscule compared to how well the movie was actually put
So,
together.
Would you agree if Hollywood went to a slower storytelling style like this, where there's a whole lot of wasted scenes, do you think it would be better, or would you go see more movies in theaters?
I don't think I'd go see more movies in theaters, but I think that it would do Hollywood a favor.
Okay.
I think that if they slow down and stop pumping out as many movies as they do.
And I have to say, I give it a 4 to 5.
Ryan's the Russian judge.
I do have to say, I was kind of hoping I would see the people's eyebrow in this because of all of Steve McQueen's different facial expressions. I absolutely love the soundtrack, to the lighting.
I don't like the soundtrack.
It's classic.
I'm a huge fan of
It is.
that
For
style
it,
of music.
fine.
So
I don't like that style of music.
I even like the acting, and there's a couple of guys in here I really like. So it's a strong 4 to 5, even though the story is kind of like 3-2 beer thin. It's really good for what they did with it. especially being based off of.
I really think that this movie was the start of a lot of things.
No, I agree.
And those things being things like car chases and the car guys, and back in those days, we could take an old beater car and go in the garage and put headers and carburetors and points and supercharge it, and go ahead and race it down on the streets. And so, I mean, it was things that were really, really still neat to us at that period of time. The things that you can't do today.
Yeah, and so
wouldn't pass smog.
And so the second part is we're going to talk about episode 8 of everybody's favorite miniseries, The Band of Brothers.
The Last Patrol, yes.
And I guess I'll go. The one thing I got to say that really sucks would be starting over. This episode introduces that guy coming back from the hospital. He didn't run away, and he felt like he had to start over again. That would suck, because you notice everybody was giving him the 3rd degree.
I agree with you on that. But, I understand his point of view coming in, and I like that they did it from his point of view.
Yeah, same here.
Because they had already given you everybody else's point of view throughout the movie, as they say, oh, you busted out, welcome back, let's get going, But, 4 months. That is a long time, especially during war.
Yeah. And especially when you had everybody else escape from the hospital.
Yeah.
Too.
And I kind of think, I like to think, even though I'm not in that position, but I like to think that I'd be the same way as those guys that busted out. I can't sit here and do nothing.
Yeah.
I got to break out and get there.
Yeah, on the other hand, I can also see the other guy's point of view, too, far as I'm going to stay away from it as far as possible. That's got to be a fine line.
Well, I think it was that he wanted to make sure that he was as best as he could before he went back, so he could be as beneficial to them.
Which is not, I want to really point this out, that is not an unnoble thing.
Yeah.
Saying for him to want to be, good when he goes back, but the way that everybody else viewed it, like, well, dude broke out, other dude broke out, you know what I mean? Like, what's up? You know what I mean? It was such a slight against those people, and he was like, what are you talking about? Like, almost didn't know where they were coming from, but just that 4-month gap, you know what I mean, is enough to just separate those people, entirely. They're a world away now.
Especially since he just started mentioning the 2 guys that basically got blown to pieces. And just like, where are they? And they're like, that was Bastogne.
I would say the other one to me that every time I've seen this is probably out of all time, it's my favorite scene, when Winters lies.
Yeah.
That to me is a sign of a great leader, because he'd get in deeper crap, and he was willing to lose everything for he didn't lose a guy. I really liked that. That was the one scene that was like, no wonder they like this guy. He knows they know he's one of them.
I give major credit to the actor too when when they're staring across the river, and he comes up and they say that they counted that as a successful mission, and he stops and the actor stops and pauses for a second, just like pondering that was a successful mission, because to him that was an unacceptable mission. That they even lost one guy to his own grenade too.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that we do have a Facebook page. Please tell us what you think. Do you hate us? Do you think we suck? Write us hate mail. We'll read you and mock you on air.
Just look at the damn show.
And the other thing to do is please, if you feel like donating to, in our opinion, the greatest movie show on the internet.
Donate $10 for every minute you watch.
Hey, that works. So, also, is there any themes or anything else you'd like us to do? We're up to doing
maybe.
I guess I'll do some movie news. And one of the ones I found was interesting was The Hateful Eight was back on, and I know we talked about this, but Jennifer Lawrence is in talks to be in The Hateful Eight. What do you think?
Are you asking us?
Yes.
I've never had any problem with any casting thing that Tarantino's ever done. He's always done things for a really good reason. I've yet to disagree with him.
So, I got to go with Ryan on that. I mean, other than the one that shall not be named, I have really no problems with his movies.
Everybody actually likes that movie. You realize?
I hate it. I hate that movie with every fiber of my being, and I can list. I will sit down Quentin Tarantino and tear that movie a new one.
It is the longest bloody movie ever. And so many things go. Yeah. Shall not be named. Shall not be named.
And the other one, just real quick, it says Dwayne Johnson's confirmed he will play either Shazam or the Black Adam.
I'm down with fucking either one of those.
I want to see him as Shazam.
By the way, I would laugh my ass off if they played him to be the Black Adam. It would be like the Black Power Ranger.
No. I want to see him as Shazam. I want to see him switch to a little kid.
Seriously, that'd be awesome.
I want to see him to be a pale Irish kid, then boom, he's the Rock. That would be hilarious.
I don't think they're gonna make the kid Irish if it's the Rock, man.
Oh, they totally should. I think they should. That would be awesome.
I'd be down with that.
Come on, that would be great. So next
Have
week,
me little Bow Wow.
Oh, jeez. Or one of Will Smith's kids.
Oh man, yeah, little ginger kid turns into Black Adam and learns the unfriendly truth about racism.
Hey, somebody's gonna steal that. It's gonna become a blockbuster. So next week's movies are theater pick, and we decided to do the new Marvel movie that came out a couple of weeks ago. That's the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, this is from the deep Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And make sure you watch that. The next week's episode of Band of Brothers is episode 9.
Yes.
Anybody actually know what that one's called? Because I don't.
9.
Yeah. I didn't care
It's
enough to
9.
look it up.
9.
And
9.
ladies and gentlemen, I gave Bullitt a 4 to 5. James gave it a 4 to 5. Rob gave it a 4 or 5. This time, Ryan's being the Russian judge gave it a 3 to 5. Next week is Guardians of the Galaxy, and as always, we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Thank you.